5 months after our wedding, I learned something about my wife that split my life into 2 parts, before that moment and after. It happened on a Tuesday. An ordinary, forgettable Tuesday. My client had canceled, so I came home early thinking I'd surprise Emily with dinner. A quiet night, just the 2 of us. We'd been drifting a little, both busy, both tired. I thought maybe this would help us reconnect. But the moment I stepped inside, something felt off. The air wasn't tense or heavy, just different, the way a room feels when someone has been crying or arguing, even if nothing looks out of place. Her laptop sat open on the coffee table. A video was paused mid-frame. A crowded bar. Neon lights. Strangers dancing. Then I saw her. Emily. Laughing. Head thrown back. Hair wild. And a look in her eyes, a reckless, unfiltered joy I had never seen from her. I told myself not to overthink it. It was her bachelorette party. Of course there'd be alcohol and chaos. But then I noticed the guy. Tall. Muscular. Hands on her waist like he belonged there. And she didn't pull away. She melted into him. Slow. Willing. Familiar. Her smile shifted into something I had never seen directed at me. I didn't press play. I didn't have to. One still frame told a story I wasn't ready to hear. I stood there, heart pounding so loudly it echoed in my fingertips. There's a type of quiet men don't talk about, the quiet between shock and heartbreak. When your mind refuses to accept what your eyes already know. That quiet swallowed me whole. Finally, I sat down and unpaused the video. Her friends were chanting. The guy pulled her closer. Her arms wrapped around his neck and then she kissed him. Not a dare. Not a drunken accident. A slow, deliberate kiss she leaned into. Then she whispered something in his ear and dragged him toward the back of the bar. The video cut off there. My imagination didn't. My hands were shaking. I stared at the clock on the wall, watching the second hand sweep forward like time was mocking me. Moving on while I felt frozen in place. This woman, my wife, had looked me in the eyes so many times. She'd talked about trust. Loyalty. Forever. She cried happy tears at our wedding. Held my hands while we said our vows. And all the while, the week before we got married, she was in someone else's arms. A version of her existed that I had never met. And now I was watching him kiss her. I heard the garage door open. Emily was home. I closed the laptop gently like it was a bomb. She walked in smiling, rambling about traffic and how hungry she was. I watched her, not with anger, just disbelief. The woman in front of me looked so normal, so familiar. She didn't notice the tension in my jaw or how tightly I was gripping the couch. She kissed my cheek and moved to the kitchen, humming. And all I could think was, how long have I been married to a stranger? I followed her, leaning against the doorway. I said quietly. She looked up, smiling. Yeah. I didn't accuse her. I didn't show her the laptop. I didn't ask why. Instead, I asked the one question that had been clawing at my chest. Were you happy before we got married? Her hands froze. What? Of course I was. But there was a flicker, too quick for most people to notice. Not guilt. Not shock. Calculation. Like she was choosing which version of the truth would hurt the least. I stepped closer. Did you ever have second thoughts? She forced a laugh. Where is this coming from? I didn't answer. Just watched her. And that was enough to make her uncomfortable. She set the knife down slowly. Lucas, you're scaring me. What's going on? I didn't trust myself to speak. If I did, everything inside me would have come out like broken glass. So I walked away. In our bedroom, I sat on the edge of the bed and tried to breathe through the nausea. A few minutes later, she knocked softly. Can I come in? I said nothing. She opened the door anyway. Lucas, look at me. I did. And she saw it. Whatever was in my expression, she read it instantly. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You saw it, didn't you? That was the moment. She could have lied. She could have pretended. But she didn't. I felt something in my chest crack. So it's true, I said. She sat beside me, trembling. It was stupid. I was drunk. I didn't think. Don't, I said quietly. Don't blame alcohol. You weren't stumbling. You weren't confused. You knew exactly who you were kissing. Her eyes filled with tears. It was before we were married. It didn't mean anything. That line, it didn't mean anything. cut deeper than anything else. She still didn't understand what she'd taken from me. It wasn't a mistake, Emily, I said. It was a choice. I stood and grabbed a duffel bag from the closet. She panicked. Lucas, no. Please. We can fix this. It was before the wedding. People make mistakes. I zipped the bag. You didn't make a mistake. You made a decision. And now I'm making mine. She grabbed my arm, voice shaking. Don't throw away our marriage. I looked at her hand. The same hand that wore my ring while she kissed another man. I'm not throwing it away, I said. I just finally realized you weren't in it to begin with. Her face collapsed. Lucas, I love you. I shook my head. You love the idea of being married. Not me. I took off my ring, set it on the dresser, and walked toward the door. Behind me, she sobbed. Please don't leave. Please, I'm begging you. But I didn't look back. Not out of anger. Not out of pride. But because I had finally accepted the truth. I gave all my love to someone who didn't value it until she was terrified of losing it. Leaving wasn't revenge. It was closure. It was the moment I stopped loving the version of her I thought I knew. And for the first time since watching that video, I felt something steady. Peace.